അങ്ങനെയുള്ള കാര്യം. യെസ്, ബജറ്റ് നടപടികൾ ആരംഭിക്കുകയാണ്. സ്പീക്കർ സുമിത്ര മഹാജൻ അവിടേക്ക് ഡയസിലേക്ക് എത്തിക്കഴിഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നു. വലിയൊരു പ്രതിഷേധം പ്രതിപക്ഷത്തിന്റെ ഭാഗത്തുനിന്നും ഉണ്ടാകും എന്ന് വ്യക്തമാണ്. പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ഇ അഹമ്മദിന്റെ മരണവുമായി അനുബന്ധിച്ച് ബജറ്റ് അവതരണം മാറ്റിവെക്കണം എന്നൊരു ആവശ്യമായിരുന്നു പ്രതിപക്ഷ അംഗങ്ങൾ ഉന്നയിച്ചിരുന്നത്. കേരളത്തിൽ നിന്നുള്ള എംപിമാർ ഇതുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട് സംസാരിച്ചിരുന്നു. എന്നാൽ സ്പീക്കർ സംസാരിക്കുകയാണ്.
About the sad demise of our colleague Sri E. Ahmed. Sri E. Ahmed was a sitting member representing the Malayalam parliamentary constituency of Kerala. He was also a member of 10th to 15th Lok Sabha. Sri Ahmed was Union Minister of State for External Affairs, Railways and Human Resource Development. Earlier, Sri Ahmed was a member of the Kerala Legislative Assembly for 5 terms from 1967 to 91 and served as Minister for Industry in the government of Kerala. Sri Ahmed was Chairman Committee on Absence of Members from the sittings of the House, Chairman Committee on Government Assurance and Chairman Joint Committee on Food Management in Parliament House Complex. He was also a member of various parliamentary committees during his long and illustrious parliamentary career. A widely travelled person, Sri Ahmed, leader of Indian delegations to various countries. Sri Ahmed passed away on 1st February 2017 in New Delhi at the age of 79. We deeply mourn the loss of our colleague, and I am sure the House will join me in conveying our condolences to the bereaved family. The House may now stand in silence for a short while as a mark of respect to the memory of the departed. Oh, Shanti. Honorable members, 1 minute. 1 minute, please. I know. First, let me declare something. Then आप बोल सकते हैं. मैं नहीं मना कर रही हूँ. Honorable members, please, please. दूसरा भी नहीं, वो नहीं कर रही हूँ. मैं जो बोल रहे, आपके मन में बात है वही. I will also. मैं भी आपकी, आप में से. Yeah. Honorable members, yes. आज मैं, yes, I am. Please. Honorable members, as you are aware that in the event of death of a sitting member, the House is adjourned for the day as a mark of respect after obituary reference to the passing away of the member is made in the House. I would have adjourned the House for the day, but today's sitting has been specifically fixed by the Honorable President for presentation of the Union Budget for the financial year 2017-18, which is a constitutional obligation. In view of this exceptional situation, the House may go ahead with the presentation of the Union Budget for 2017-18. However, the House would not sit tomorrow as a mark of respect to the deceased person. So now, Honorable Finance Minister. Yes, please. खड़गे जी, अब इसके बाद आप कल की बात मैंने जब बोली है, I'm sorry. Yes, खड़गे जी, ऐसा होता नहीं है.
You called me, I met you, and I requested you.
Yes.
Today the House should be adjourned. Because E. Ahmad is a very senior most leader this House and also in Kerala House. Nearly 45 years he is there in the legislative affairs. And as a mark of respect, the House should be adjourned today budget can be presented tomorrow because why I am telling you, E. Ahmad was on his duty.
I know.
Yesterday,
Please.
he was in joint parliamentary session, he was
please.
present and he collapsed there only
please,
and he was taken to hospital
Yes,
and
please,
after
please.
taking hospital and taking
Please,
hospital.
Kharge ji, now please
No, 1 minute.
stop there only.
Taking hospital there, they already declared dead.
We are
But in
not a
spite
doctor.
of that,
I am not a doctor.
in spite of that,
Nobody is a doctor.
it was
Please.
kept.
No, nothing will
It
go on.
was kept.
I have given my ruling. और एक बात ऐसी है, हम कोई नहीं, इट इज ए डॉक्टर डिसीजन, आई एम सॉरी, और कल हम रिस्पेक्ट करेंगे, मैंने कहा है, ऑल ऑफ अस वी ऑल्सो रिस्पेक्ट हिम, नो डाउट. सो नाउ प्लीज ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर, यस प्लीज कोऑपरेट विथ मी, प्लीज कोऑपरेट, सभी को से बात करें, आई एम सॉरी. Nothing will go on record. I'm sorry. Only minister statement. Please, this is not correct. Please, this is not the way. Please. Please.
Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, on this auspicious day of Vasant Panchami, I rise to present a budget for 2017-18. Spring is a season of optimism. I extend my warm greetings to everybody on this occasion. Madam Speaker,
I have already
our government was elected amidst
Please.
huge expectations of the people. The underlying theme of countless expectations was good governance. The expectation included burning issues like inflation and price rise, corruption in day-to-day transaction, and crony capitalism. There was also an expectation from a major change in the way the country's natural resources were allocated, processed, and deployed. In the last 2.5 years, it has been our mission to bring a transformative shift in the way our country is governed. We have moved, Madam, from a discretionary-based administration to a policy and system-based administration. From favoritism to transparency and objectivity in decision-making. From blanket and loose entitlements to targeted delivery, and from an informal to a formal economy. Inflation, which was in double digit, has been controlled. Sluggish growth has been replaced by high growth, and a massive war against black money has been launched. We have worked tirelessly on all these fronts and feel encouraged by the unstinted support to the people by our initiatives. The government is now seen as a trusted custodian of public money. I take this opportunity to express our gratitude to the people of India for their strong support. We shall continue to undertake many more measures to ensure that the fruits of growth reach the farmers, the workers, the poor, the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribes, women and other vulnerable sections of our society. Our focus will be on energizing our youth to reap the benefits of growth and employment. Madam Speaker, I am presenting this budget when the world economy faces considerable uncertainty in the aftermath of the major economic and political developments during the last 1 year. Nevertheless, the International Monetary Fund estimates that the world GDP will grow by 3.1% in 2016 and 3.4% in 2017. The advanced economies are expected to increase their growth from 1.6% to 1.9% and emerging economies from 4.1% to 4.5%. As per the current indications, macroeconomic policy is expected to be more expansionist expansionary in certain large economies. Growth in a number of emerging economies is expected to recover in 2017 after relatively poor performance in 2016. There are positive signs and point to an optimistic outlook in the next year. There are, however, three major challenges for emerging economies. First, the current monetary policy stance of the United States Federal Reserve to increase the policy rates more than once in 2017 may lead to lower capital inflows and higher outflows from emerging economies. Second, the uncertainty around the commodity prices, especially that of crude oil, has implication on the fiscal situation in emerging economies. It is, however, expected to increase, if any, in the oil prices would get tempered by quick response from the producers of shale gas and oil. This would have a sobering impact on the prices of crude and petroleum. Third, in several parts of the world, there are signs of increasing retreat from globalization of goods, services, and people as pressures for protectionism are building up. These developments have the potential to affect the exports from a number of emerging economies, including India. Amidst all these developments, India stands out as a bright spot in the world economic landscape. India's macroeconomic stability continues to be the foundation of our economic success. CPI inflation declined from 6% in July 2016 to 3.4% in December 2016 and is expected to remain within the RBI's mandated range of 2 to 6%. Favorable price developments reflect prudent macroeconomic management, resulting in higher agricultural production, especially in pulses. India's current account deficit declined from about 1% of the GDP last year to 0.3% of the GDP in the first half of 2016-17. Foreign direct investment increased from 1,07,000 crores in the first half of last year to 1,45,000 crores in the first half of 2016-17. This marks an increase of 36% despite 5% reduction in global FDI inflows. Foreign exchange reserves have reached 361 billion US dollars as on 20th January 2017, which represents a comfortable cover of about 12 months of imports. The government has also continued with the steady path of fiscal consolidation without compromising on public investment requirements of the economy. Externally, the economy successfully weathered a number of shocks: the redemption of the FCNR deposits, volatility from the US elections, and the Fed rate hike. According to the IMF, India is expected to be one of the fastest growing major economies in 2017. A number of global reports and assessments over the last 2 years have shown that India has considerably improved its policies, practice, and economic profile. These are reflected in the Doing Business Report of the World Bank, World Investment Report 2016 of the UNCTAD, Global Competitiveness Report of 2015-16 and 16-17 of the World Economic Forum, and several other reports. India has become the 6th largest manufacturing country in the world, up from the 9th position previously. We are seen as an engine of global growth. In the last 1 year, our country has witnessed historic and impactful economic reform and policy making. In fact, India was one of the very few economies undertaking transformational reforms. There are two tectonic policy initiatives, namely the passage of the Constitution Amendment Bill for the GST and the progress for its implementation, and the demonetization of the high denomination banknotes. The advantages of the GST for our economy in terms of spurring growth, competitiveness, indirect tax simplification, greater transparency have already been extensively discussed in both houses of Parliament. I thank all members of both houses for having passed the Constitution Amendment unanimously. I also thank the state governments for resolving all the relevant issues in the GST Council. Demonetization of high denominational banknotes was a continuation of a series of measures taken by our government during the last 2 years. It is a bold and decisive measure. For several decades, tax evasion for many had become a way of life. This compromises the larger public interest and creates an unjust enrichment in favor of the tax evader to the detriment of the poor and the deprived. This has bred a parallel economy which is unacceptable in an inclusive society. Demonetization seeks to create a new normal wherein the GDP would be bigger, cleaner, and real. The exercise is a part of our government's resolve to eliminate corruption and black money, counterfeit currency, and terror funding. Like all reforms, this measure is obviously disruptive as it seeks to change the retrograde status quo. Drop in economic activity, if any, on account of currency squeeze during the remonetization period is expected to have only a transient impact on the economy. I am reminded here of what the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, had said, "A right cause never fails." Demonetization has a strong potential to generate long-term benefits in terms of reduced corruption, greater digitization of our economy, increased flow of financial savings, and greater formalization of the economy, all of which would be eventually lead to higher GDP growth and tax revenues. Demonetization helps to transfer resources from the tax evaders to the government, which can use these resources for the welfare of the poor and the deprived. There is early evidence of an increased capacity of banks to lend at reduced interest rates and a huge shift towards digitization amongst all sections of society. We firmly believe that the demonetization and the GST, which were built on the third transformational achievement of our government, namely the JAM vision, will have an epoch-making impact on the economy and the lives of our people. Madam, we are at an important point in the path of our growth and development. इस मोड़ पर घबरा के न थम जाइए आप, जो बात नहीं है उसे अपनाइए आप, डरते हैं नई राह पे क्यों चलने से, हम आगे आगे चलते हैं आइए आप. The pace of remonetization has picked up and will soon reach comfortable levels. The effects of demonetization are not expected to spill over to the next year. Thus, IMF, even while revising India's GDP forecast from 2016 downwards, has projected a GDP of 7.2 and 7.7% in 2017 and 18 respectively. The World Bank, however, is more optimistic and has projected a GDP of 7% in 2016-17, 7.6% in 17-18, and 7.8 in 18-19. This pickup in our economy is premised upon the policy and determination to continue with economic reforms, increase in public investment in infrastructure and development projects, and export growth in the context of an expected rebound in the world economy. The surplus liquidity in the banking system created by demonetization will lower the borrowing costs and increase the access to credit. This will boost economic activity with multiplier effects. The announcements made by the Honorable Prime Minister on the 31st of December 2016 addresses many of the key concerns of our economy at this juncture, such as housing for the poor, relief to the farmers, credit support to the MSMEs, encouragement to the digital transactions, assistance to pregnant women and senior citizens, and priority to Dalits, tribals, backwards, and women under the Mudra Yojana. My overall approach while preparing this budget has been to spend more in rural areas, infrastructure, and poverty alleviation, and yet maintain the best standards of fiscal prudence. I have kept in mind the need to continue with economic reforms, promote higher investments, and accelerate growth. The last 1 year was a witness to other major reforms, namely the enactment of the Insolvency and the Bankruptcy Code, amendment to the RBI Act for inflation targeting, enactment of the Aadhaar Bill for disbursement of financial subsidies and benefits, significant reform in the FDI policy, the job-creating package for the textile sector, and several other measures. We will continue to process the process of economic reforms for the benefit of the poor and the underprivileged. Madam Speaker, the budget 2017-18 contains three major reforms. First, the presentation of the budget has been advanced to the 1st of February to enable the Parliament to avoid a vote on account and pass a single appropriation bill for 17-18 before the close of the current financial year. This would enable ministries and departments to operationalize all schemes, projects, including new schemes, right from the commencement of the next financial year. They would be able to utilize the available working season before the onset of the monsoons. Second, the merger of the railway budget with the general budget is a historic step. We have discontinued the colonial practice prevalent since 1924. This decision brings railways to the center stage of the government's fiscal policy and would facilitate multimodal transport planning between the railways, highways, and inland waterways. The functional autonomy of the railways will, however, continue. Third, we have done away with the plan and the non-plan classification of expenditure. This will give us a holistic view of allocation for sectors and ministries. This would facilitate optimal allocation of resources. Madam Speaker, we are aware that we need to do more for our people. Continuing with the task of fulfilling the people's expectations, our agenda for the next year is transform, energize, and clean India, that is Tech India. This agenda of Tech India seeks to transform the quality of governance and the quality of life of our people, energize various sections of society, especially the youth and the vulnerable, and enable them to unleash their true potential, clean the country from the evils of corruption, black money, and the non-transparent political funding. I propose to present my budget proposals under 10 distinct themes to foster this broad agenda. The themes are: 1. Farmers for whom we have committed to double their incomes in 5 years. 2. Rural population, providing employment and basic infrastructure. 3. Youth, energizing them through education, skills, and jobs. 4. Poor and the underprivileged, strengthening the system of social security, healthcare, and affordable housing. 5. Infrastructure for efficiency, productivity, and quality of life. 6. Financial sector, growth and stability through stronger institutions. 7. Digital economy for speedy accountability and transparency. 8. Public service, effective governance and efficiency of service delivery through people's participation. 9. Prudent fiscal management to ensure optimal deployment of resources and preserve financial stability. And 10. Tax administration, honoring the honest. Farmers. The Indian farmer has once again shown his commitment to the resilience in the current year. The total area sown under Kharif and Rabi seasons are higher than the previous year. With a better monsoon, agriculture is expected to grow at 4.1% in the current year. In last year's budget speech, I focused on income security to farmers to double their income in 5 years. I had also announced a number of measures. We have taken more steps to enable farmers to increase their production and productivity and to deal with the post-harvest challenges. For a good crop, adequate credit should be available to farmers in time. The target for agricultural credit in 2017 and 18 has been fixed at a record level of 10 lakh crores. इस साल मैडम 10 लाख करोड़ किसानों को क्रेडिट के रूप में उसका प्रावधान किया गया है. We will take special efforts to ensure adequate flow of credit to underserved areas, the eastern states and Jammu and Kashmir. The farmers will also benefit from the 60-day interest waiver announced by the Honorable Prime Minister in respect of their loans from the cooperative credit structure. about 40% of the small and marginal farmers avail credit from the cooperative structure. The primary agricultural societies at the end of the year, the primary societies at the end of the year act as a front end for the loan disbursements. We will support NABARD for computerization and integration of 63,000 functional PACs with core banking support and district cooperative banks. This will be done in 3 years at an estimated cost of 1,900 crores with financial participation from the state governments. This will ensure seamless flow of credit to the small and marginal farmers. At the same time, sowing farmers should feel secure against the natural calamities. The Fasal Bima Yojana launched by our government is a major step in that direction. The coverage of the scheme will be increased from 30% of the cropped area in 2016-17 to 40% in 2017-18 and 50% in 18-19. The budget provision of rupees 5,500 crores in the Yojana in budget estimate of 2016 was increased to rupees 13,240 crores in 16-17 to settle the arrear claims. I have proposed a sum of rupees 9,000 crores. The sum insured under the Yojana has been more than doubled from 69,000 crores in the Kharif 2015 to 1,41,625 crores in the Kharif of 2016. Issuance of soil health cards has gathered momentum. The real benefit to the farmers would be available only when the soil samples are tested, quality and nutritional levels of soil is known. The government will therefore set up a mini lab in the Krishi Vigyan Kendras to ensure 100% coverage for all 648 KVKs in the country. 200 mini labs will be set up by qualified local entrepreneurs. Government will provide credit-linked subsidy to these entrepreneurs. A long-term irrigation fund has been set up in the NABARD. The Honorable Prime Minister has announced in addition to 20,000 crores as its corpus. This will take the corpus of this fund now to 40,000 crores. A dedicated micro irrigation fund will be set up by NABARD to achieve the goal of per drop more crop. The fund will have an initial corpus of rupees 5,000 crores. For the post-harvest phase, we will take steps to ensure that farmers to get better price for their produce in the markets. The coverage of the National Agricultural Market, (NAM), will be expanded from the current 250 markets to 585 APMCs. Assistance up to a ceiling of 75 lakh rupees will be provided to every NAM market for establishment of cleaning, grading and packaging facility. This will lead to greater value addition of the farmers' produce. Market reforms will be undertaken and states would be urged to denotify perishables from the APMC. This will give an opportunity to the farmers to sell their produce and get a better price. We also propose to integrate farmers who grow fruits and vegetables with agro-processing units for a better price realization and reduction of post-harvest losses. A model law on contract farming would therefore be prepared and circulated amongst the states for adoption. Dairy is an important source of additional income on farmers. Availability of milk processing facility and other infrastructure will benefit the farmers through value addition. A number of milk processing units set up under the Operation Flood program have since become old and obsolete. A dairy processing infrastructure development fund would be created, set up by NABARD with a corpus of 8,000 crores over 3 years. Initially, the fund will start with a corpus of rupees 2,000 crores. Rural population. I now turn to the rural sector, which is so dear to the heart of Mahatma Gandhi. Over rupees 3 lakh crores are spent in rural areas every year. If we add all the programs meant for the rural poor by the central budget and the state budgets, budget linkage for self-help groups. With a clear focus on improving accountability and outcomes and convergence, we will undertake a mission Antyodaya to bring 1 crore households out of poverty and make 50,000 gram panchayats poverty free by 2019, the 150th birth anniversary of Gandhiji. We will utilize the existing resources more effectively along with annual increases. This mission will work with a focused micro plan for sustainable livelihood for every deprived household. A composite index of poverty-free gram panchayat would be developed to monitor the progress from the baseline. Our government has made a conscious effort to reorient MG Manrega to support the resolve to double farmers' incomes. While providing at least 100 days employment to every rural household, Manrega should create productive assets to improve farm productivity and incomes. The target of 5 lakh ponds and 10 lakh composite pits announced in the last year budget from Manrega funds have been fully achieved. In fact, against 5 lakh ponds, it is expected that about 10 lakh farm ponds would be completed by March 2017. During 2017 and 18, another 5 lakh ponds would be taken up. The single measure would contribute greatly to drought proofing of the Gram Panchayats. Participation of women in Manrega has increased to 55% from less than 48% in the past. Honorable members would be happy to note that in the budget provisions of 38,500 under Manrega in 2016-17 has now been increased to rupees 48,000 crores in 2017 and 18.